Hello everybody, my name's Robert Webb.
And I'm Andy Cox.
And we're running the UK hub of Poverty Stoplight. Well, we're really sorry that we can't be with you at this momentous event, but instead we've produced this video to let you know what we've been doing for the last couple of years here in the UK. About 3 years ago, I was at a Social Enterprise World Forum event and I met Martin. So he gave a keynote speech at that forum and explained what the Poverty Stoplight programme is. And for me, that was a life-changing moment. I recognised that it was talking about a methodology which was not difficult, but was entirely missing from the type of work that I've been doing all my life within the social economy.
Having a conversation with an individual or a household and talking about poverty was not the best engagement strategy at all. And what we've done in Transmit Enterprises, we've rebranded the Poverty Stoplight into Signal. Signal allows us to have that better engagement conversation with individuals around the same subject matter.
We beta tested the product by working with a particular community in Newcastle called Biker, and from that we learned an awful lot so that we could put all of that learning together into a pilot period. The first thing that we had to do was to work with Eduardo and his team, who were instrumental in helping us to translate the programme into English and to ensure that the indicators that we're using are relevant to here in the UK. We did change some of the indicators, we developed some, we took some out, we put some new ones in. But I think the main story about that is that they more or less all stayed the same.
The methodology was very well received in the UK, extremely well received. However, the technology wasn't. However, we've worked very closely with Eduardo and his team at the foundation to bring about a new platform, and we're very excited about that proposition. Whilst we've been introducing Signal to business partners and showcasing the benefits of the product both for individuals, for organisations and for communities, they themselves have identified the benefits of the products for themselves and have adopted and adapted the methodology and the technology to fit in with their own business models. And what we're going to do here is show you some examples of some of these partners and how they've adapted Signal for their own use.
Springboard is a community development and training charity which aims to develop sustainable communities where people have the skills they need for work and life. We work predominantly with young people and unemployed adults, and the way that we work with them is through a series of training programs and other community support initiatives. We're using Signal because we need to track softer outcomes. Harder outcomes like jobs and qualifications are easy to monitor, but we need to gather information on the softer outcomes so that we can pass that information on to our delivery officers and pastoral care team so that they can address the real needs of the people we work with.
Citizens Advice Newcastle is quite an old charity. We've been here since 1939 and we provide free confidential advice to anyone who needs it in the city. A lot of it is debt and money advice, but it really does cover everything. We like Signal because it's not being done to people, it's where people actually try to take control of their own lives. I mean, our ideal success is that we don't have repeat customers. You know, we don't want people to come back and, well, I've got my debt sorted out this month, but actually 3 months on, I'm just in the same trap again.
One of the benefits of Signal for the YMCA is to be able to analyse the aggregated data that it produces, especially working with young people over the longer term. We can identify patterns, we can identify trends, we can identify changes in the local operating environment, particularly when things external to the YMCA and external to young people change. We have seen an influx of people from different countries coming to live in Newcastle, where we have people with different needs, different value space, different cultures, and we're able to identify some of their needs and the changing needs that our services need to provide.
In the UK, it's estimated by organisations like Joseph Rowntree Foundation there are 14 million people living in poverty. It's also estimated that over 8 million working people and families suffer from poverty. Now, many organisations and policymakers consider the economic issues around poverty, whereas we see the value in looking at poverty in terms of multidimensional situations. That's why Signal has become a very popular product in the UK.
A lot of the people who use our services essentially are unemployed. So at one level they're looking for a job, but actually when you get into it and start using Signal and start developing some of the strategies to cope with their problems, you find that their problems are very often about alcohol or drugs or housing or mental health or relationships. So it's a much broader, complex set of circumstances, and that's what Signal does, is it gives us that softer information so that we can address all of those concerns, as well as working on the central point for an organisation like Springboard, which is to do the training.
Dental health is a huge thing for poverty, and tackling it is absolutely important, but we'd never have done it without Signal. We'd never even made that connection. But now we've made the connection. We're actually working with Citizens Advice nationally to say there's a bigger link that needs to be made here about people getting access to dental treatment. And we're now working with the NHS Business Services about how do we get people to understand that, yes, there are charges, but they're not that big, and you can actually budget and everything, and there's a cut-off point when if you need that much treatment, then that's how much you pay. So we're actually doing some work with the NHS Business Services, which is national as well, and we're trialling out some things about free dental care, free prescriptions. How do you make sure that you're eligible for them, and it doesn't have to cost you a fortune?
For us, one of the benefits of Signal being a technology-based solution rather than a paper-based solution is that the young people we work with are very technology-abled, and they actually have an expectation that we use technology within our work, and they find it easier to use technologies than they do to respond to bits of paper.
What we've discovered is when you have a cohort of learners, if one of them is having a particular episode or having some particular problems, it's better to remove them from the group, to do some work with them as an individual, and then it allows the rest of the group to get on and do their work. There's a better dynamic, and people will see that we've supported the individual through their problems. We're using Signal as a way of identifying some of those problems and transferring them over to a pastoral care team who will be addressing them and trying to help people to work through their problems.
The next steps in the UK is that we've been piloting, we've been working very closely with business partners in new sectors such as housing sector, community and non-profit organisations, and with policymakers such as local authorities. The key for us is to get sufficient traction and evidence of the product working in the UK, and with the new product platform coming online in June with the data capability, we're going to use these organisations as ambassadors to roll out Signal to a wider market, and we look forward to seeing the results of that in the near future. We hope this short video gives you a good snapshot of what we're doing here in the UK. You'll have seen how important partnerships are to us, and in particular our partnerships with the Foundation and the rest of our international partners.
So we wish you every success with the conference. Very sorry that we're not there, but this is just the beginning. It's something that Martine always says, this is just the beginning and we're in for the long haul. Thank you.